So welcome to part 3 of Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. If you made it this far, give yourself a pat on the back for going through the first 2 and making it to the 3rd one, because you're truly committed to becoming the strongest version of yourself. So first note I want to start with here is we live and act what we believe we are. So if you truly believe you're a complete boss, then you will begin to act in that way. Just imagine if you identified yourself as a boss, as someone that is loving, caring, confident. If you identify yourself with all these things, courageous, that's the way you're going to show up in the world, and that's the way people are going to perpetuate onto you. So for example, I'm going to give you a quick example. Let's say if you meet someone and you know that these people are going to love you. Let's say it's one person. You know they're going to love you. They're going to accept you because you truly believe you're a positive, outgoing, fun person to be around. You know this person's going to love you. You absolutely know it. You approach them, you're just like, you're super confident. You're like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's your day? Okay? You have a lot of confidence. You know that they're going to love you no matter what. Like, you're so sure of this because you identify with being this person that loves to help people. You're a giving person. And let's say now in this other example, you're somebody that identifies yourself as like you're not worthy enough, or you're more self-conscious. You're worried about what people are judging you with and things of that nature. Think about how you're going to approach them in that sense. You think that they might not like you, they might judge you, so you go to them, you're like, hey, how's it going? And you're kind of like saying it in a way where like you're kind of like expecting a negative response, or you're just kind of like, you're like feeling them out. You're like, does this guy like me? Does he want to talk to me? Or like, what's going on? So you want to shift the beliefs that you have about yourself into more positive, empowering ones. Next one, raise your standards in all areas of life. Raise your standards for the quality of life you want to live, and give yourself a taste of the good life every once in a while to keep yourself going. So raise your standards. This is something Tony Robbins lives by. Stop thinking small. Stop settling. Stop tolerating a life which is less than what you deserve. And give yourself a taste of the good life every once in a while to keep yourself going. So what does that mean? Let's say you know who you want to be 10, 15 years from now. You know that ultimate version of yourself. You're like, I want to be that guy. This is the lifestyle I want to live. Let's say, for example, okay? So let's say, for example, the lifestyle you want to live is you want to live a lifestyle of just complete abundance where you do whatever you want, go wherever you want, on your own terms, okay? So what does he mean when he says give yourself a taste of the good life? So let's say, for example, you like basketball, but you can't really afford to consistently sit front row tickets. He's saying go ahead and go sit front row every once in a while. Let's say once every couple months, do something like this. Go sit front row at the basketball game you want to sit at. When you go on vacation, go stay at the nicest hotel in town. Don't be stupid about it. Don't consistently do it to the point where you're going to leave yourself broke all the time. But do it once every couple months, once every few months, once every 6 months, whatever you can afford to do. But do it every once in a while, because what happens is your brain starts to get used to these experiences, and it doesn't want to tolerate any less. Like now, like you don't want to sit back row of the basketball game. Like you don't want to sit on the upper deck. You want to sit in the front row. So what happens is your subconscious brain, it begins to think of ways and empower you, and like how, like it begins to figure out like, how am I going to get to the point where I'm not going to sit up there anymore? I'm going to sit down here. Or I'm going to stay at the nicest hotel. So your brain kind of goes to work for you, and it begins to think like, it begins to strategize like, how can I make this a consistent part of my life? It begins to kind of feel what it feels like. You want to give yourself that feeling that you're after, that you want like 10 to 15 years down the line when you accomplish these big goals that you have in your life. Okay, so next one. The secret to living is giving. You feel the best and most fulfilled when you are giving to others. This is very straightforward. I won't get too much deeper into this one. But giving or contributing, like we did in, I think, part 2, it gives you a feeling of fulfillment when you know you're contributing to someone's life. You know you're helping them in some way. And that's so important. So the next one, the quality of your life is, we already talked about this before, but this is actually different. The quality of your life is what we talked about before, which was the quality of your emotions on a daily basis, but it's also the quality of the people you surround yourself with. So make sure to choose these people wisely. Surround yourself with people that challenge you, that inspire you, people that you want to be like, people that you respect. Surround yourself with people like this. Don't surround yourself with people that are complaining, people that are draining you of your energy. Get the energy draining people out of your life. Surround yourself with people that are positive. Sure, there's the positive, empowering, challenging people. These people are going to have bad days too. I'm not saying discard all negativity, but I'm saying discard the people in your life that have a habit of being negative and have negative energy. There's no reason to spend time with people like that, because that's going to eventually rub off on you. And really, you want the people that you want to be like to rub off on yourself. So try to put yourself in situations where you're around those people. Okay, so the next one. This is something I should start implementing a little bit more of myself as well. So to feel more attraction and connection towards your partner in a long-term relationship, just do what you did in the beginning of the relationship, and there won't be an end. For example, in the beginning of your relationship, when she tells you to take out the trash, you jump up and you do it. Like, you just like, yeah, no problem. Like, it's not a thing. Later on in the relationship, when she asks you to take out the trash, you yell at her and say, like, what am I, your fucking slave? And like, it ends up being like this big fight. The key is to treat the relationship each day as if it was brand new. If you're able to do this, if you remember how you were, some of us have been in like relationships so long that we forget what it was like when we first met this person, like the first few months, like what kind of connection there was and how things were in those first few months, like how much love and respect there was in the relationship in those first few months, where we were just like not trying to fight with each other. It was all love. And if you can get back to that place, that can be incredible. This is something I could definitely implement more in my life. Next one, information without emotion attached to it doesn't stick that well. You want to be emotionally involved with anything that you are learning. So get your body, your mind, your emotions deeply involved with what you're learning. This is a major takeaway for me. So he says, like, if you're reading a book, or if you're like learning a new concept and you're just kind of like sitting down, like a very passive kind of state like this, like just, you know, just like super laid back, like you don't absorb that much information. But if you're up and like your body's into it, your mind is into it, your emotions are into it, you're engaging in like a deep kind of way, this is what sticks inside your subconscious mind, and it becomes a part of your fucking soul. So it sinks deeper. So anytime you're learning, try to engage and be actively involved with what you're learning. That goes for anything at all. Next one, repetition is the mother of skill. Learn the same things over and over again to internalize them. Go to the same seminars over and over again and listen to the same information so that it literally becomes a part of you. So this is something I just talked about just right there. So I read lots of books. At this point, I've read like over 100 books in the last few years. And I see the same information over and over and over and over again. Some things are very common. Some things are very common. And it's so important to continue reading them, to continue feeding your mind with these things, because the only way to really permanently change your mind is repetition. Do something again and again and again. It doesn't matter if you heard it before, if you've done it before. Listen to it again. Listen to it again. Come back to these videos that I'm making, part 1, part 2, part 3. Listen again. Come back every week. Come back every month. If you need to, always remind yourself. I go through a process every month where I review my goals, my book notes, my Tony Robbins seminar notes, and I revisit them to remind myself, remind my mind, like this is what I want to keep at the forefront of my mind here. Next one. The only way to grow your brain, mind/mindset is from going through resistance. Just like lifting weights grows your physical body, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and plowing through them is the way to build a strong mind. So one example for me, a quick example, is going to improv class or Toastmasters. It's uncomfortable, but that's the only way to grow your mind. Or like, let's say when you're studying something or you're reading a book, you get past the point of like, let's say like you're 2 hours into it and it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like you're stretching. That's good. That's what you want to feel. Like you want slight discomfort. You don't want to be at the point where you're so overwhelmed where you're just like, oh fuck. Like you put the book down, you're like, oh, I'm dead. Go to the point where you're slightly uncomfortable, because that uncomfort that you're feeling is the growth, right? When you're lifting a weight, you don't stop as soon as there's some slight discomfort. Your muscles will never grow that way. You're never going to grow muscles if you're trying. You have to go to the point where you're just like, you're uncomfortable, but you'll stop like right before you're about to die. You know? Same thing with your mind. Push yourself every day to learn more and absorb more information to the point of discomfort. And realize that that discomfort is not bad. It's your mind growing. Next one, do incantations. It will make you feel incredible. Incantations are chanting empowering phrases out loud with passion and enthusiasm, using your entire physiology. Okay? So one example would be, you might look and sound crazy when you're doing this. So maybe do it like when nobody's home in the bathroom or something. So you can do things like, I am strong and confident. Like as loud and as strong and confidently as you can. But when you say it, you have to own it with your entire body and mind. So it wouldn't count if you're like, I am strong and confident. That doesn't count. You have to say, I am strong and confident. And just yell at yourself and just tell yourself this thing. Like as soon as you say that, try it once or twice in the mirror. You're going to see like how fucking awesome you're going to feel. Like you're going to be like, whoa, like I fucking feel strong and confident. It's amazing. Next one. If you're having trouble getting started on something, then link more pain to not taking action and link pleasure with taking action. I'll give you a quick example of this. I did this with my YouTube channel. So I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for at least 6 months to a year now. And so what I did is I linked more pain to not starting the action, because I said, well, if I don't start a YouTube channel, I'd be depriving people of things that I think are important for them to hear or to know. And I would also be not living up to my fullest capabilities. I know that this is something that I wanted to do, and I don't want to delay my evolution, because every time in my life that I've delayed my evolution, it's just been a big waste of time. Like I know, like you know, when you're sitting at home, you know there are certain things you want to do that you've been kind of putting off for a little while. You need to do those things and you need to do them fucking immediately. Because if you delay your evolution, you're just delaying. Like, why would you want to delay that? Like, you're going to do it eventually anyway, so just do it now. Just do it now. Where was I here? Okay. So focus on what will be the pain in your life if you don't follow through with your goals. What will you miss out on? If you don't follow through with your goals, what are you going to miss out on? Focus on that. Focus on that. The opportunities that you'll miss. The lifestyle that you won't have. The shit lifestyle that you might continue to have. Focus on that. Link pain to it. Feel bad about it if you have to. What would be the pleasure if you do follow through with your goals? What will you have? How would your life be different? Focus on that now. If you do follow through with all your goals, do what you said you were going to do, accomplish all the things you want to accomplish, what would that feel like? What will you have in your life? How would your life be different? Focus on that and really feel it in your body. Pause the video if you have to. I'm going to go to the next point here. If you're not growing, then you're dying. This is something I already pointed out. But this is what, okay, I already said this whole thing here. So I'll just repeat it. This is why some celebrities get depressed. They have everything, but they stop growing and slowly begin to die on the inside, regardless of how much money or things they have accumulated in their lives. Never stop growing. You know, the first book that I read before I started seriously getting into reading was probably about 4 years ago. And it was, I think it was called The Accelerated Learning Techniques by Brian Tracy. And in that book, he preached and preached and preached about the importance of continuous learning. Like everyone gets to a point in their lives where like, I know enough. I don't need to learn anymore. That's when you will begin your downfall. That's when your results in life will start to slowly sink. That's when you'll start to slowly feel worse. Always, 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 always be learning. Always. There's always more to learn and always more room to expand your mind and to feed your mind with more things. Because some people, they might think like, you don't ever want to get to the point where you consider yourself a master or you think you know it all. This is a point you want to completely avoid at all costs. Because if you're considering yourself a master, you're implying that you don't have anything more to learn. You're always a student. Always identify yourself as a student, never a master. Next one, we're almost done here. Uncomfortable emotions are action signals. They let you know if you are perceiving things in the wrong way, or they are a sign that you should change your process or behavior towards something. Uncomfortable emotions are not negative. They are not bad. They are here to serve us and guide us. So what does this mean? Let's say you're feeling a negative, uncomfortable emotion. Let's say you're feeling bad about the way you treated your girlfriend, okay? Let's say you're feeling bad about that. You shouldn't, what that emotion is telling you is that you've got to change the process or behavior of what you did, okay? Or like the way, it's either you have to change the way you actually approached the situation, or you have to change the way you're perceiving the situation. So one of two things is going wrong. It's either you did something wrong and that's why you feel bad. So go back and think about what you did wrong and fix that behavior for the future. Okay? Or the second thing is you're perceiving it in that way and you need to change your perception of the situation and realize that the only reason why you're feeling bad is because you perceived it in the wrong way. Like you thought somebody did something and they meant, bad intentions, but maybe you were just perceiving it in the wrong way. Give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, maybe they didn't mean to do that. Maybe and then you'll start to feel better immediately after that. Second last one actually. If you're in a funk or feeling bad about a certain area of your life, might be, for those of you who stuck around here, this might be the most important concept that Tony Robbins talks about. So congrats for those of you guys who made it this far in the video. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below and be like, I fucking made it. Okay? Give me I fucking made it comment. If you're in a funk or feeling bad about a certain area of your life, it could be any area, finances, your body, your emotions, your relationships, you will have to close the gap between your life conditions and your blueprint. I'm going to explain in a second. You need to close the gap between your life conditions and your blueprint. You have two choices. You either have to change your life to match your blueprint, or you have to change your blueprint to match your life. So let me explain. So everyone has their current life conditions. And everyone has this idea about what their life conditions should be like, or what life should be like in that area. So let me give you an example, because this is such an important point. Let's say with finances, let's say you're worth $300,000. Okay? That's your actual reality. You're worth 300 grand, okay? But your blueprint is a millionaire. Like that's how you see yourself. You're like, I need to be a millionaire, okay? Like this is what you see in your mind. Like I need to be a millionaire. What's gonna happen is you're gonna feel bad. Even you have $300,000, that's gonna cause you to feel bad. So what you have to do in that case is either you have to somehow make $1 million, but that's gonna take a long time. You don't wanna feel bad all that time. Or you have to change your blueprint that's up here, your vision of having $1 million to having $300,000. Bring it down. So this goes back to appreciating what you already have, which is the $300,000, instead of expecting the 1 million. So turn your expectations, the 1 million, into the appreciations of the 300,000 that you have, and then treat everything else as a bonus. Trust me, it will be the same process to get to that million eventually, but you'll feel better doing it this way because you appreciate what you already have and everything else is a bonus, as opposed to just focusing on that $700,000 that's missing. You're focusing on the gap, okay? You're focusing on the gap, what's missing, as opposed to what's already there. Let me give you another example. Let's go to relationships. Let's say your current life conditions are, you're with someone, you appreciate them, they're a good person, but they're not who you thought you would see yourself with. You have this blueprint up here. You have this blueprint of how you thought the relationship is supposed to be, but your actual relationship is not that. So let's say your actual relationship is that, like, it's okay. You appreciate the person. You actually do care about this person. You love them, but your blueprint is like, you want to feel in love all the time. Like you want to feel like head over heels in love all the time. You want this person to be exactly who you want them to be. Like you want them to read your mind. You want them to do all these things. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, like how they envision this perfect relationship. So now you have this dilemma. You either, to stop feeling bad about this area in your life, you need to either get to this perfect relationship, which is very difficult to do sometimes. And sometimes, depending on how you're, like what your blueprint is, it could even be like somewhat, I don't want to say impossible, but very difficult or unrealistic. Or you can bring your blueprint to your reality, where you change your blueprint and your expectation to exactly what your reality is, which is, I have a person in my life that cares about me, that loves me, that appreciates me. And that in itself is enough. I don't need all the extra stuff. If I get the extra stuff, that's a bonus. I don't need it. I'm already here. Okay? So think of it that way. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. If there is a gap in your life, if there's that gap in your life that's making you feel bad about a certain area in your life, it could be any area, like I said. Any area has that gap. You could be 180 pounds, rock hard, solid muscle, but you see yourself this 200-pound rock hard, solid muscle guy, and you'll feel bad. You will feel bad about your body. You will feel bad because even though, like, objectively speaking, if somebody else saw your body, you're like, dude, you're fucking ripped. Like, God, you have such an incredible body. If you're a girl, like, you're so in shape. Like, it's amazing. But then they're like, no, but my blueprint or my expectation is that I have, 2% body fat or whatever. And then they make themselves feel bad about it because they're always focusing on what's missing, the gap. Don't focus on the gap. Focus on what's already there. Okay? Focus on what you already have. Appreciate what you already have. The gap, if you could close that gap at some point, that's just a bonus. But don't hold this over your head, this blueprint. You don't have to make yourself miserable in the process of closing that gap. Appreciate it. Last thing before we wrap up. Everything in your life happens for a reason or a purpose to empower you. Everything in your life happens for a reason or a purpose to empower you. Always keep that in the forefront of your mind. Whether it be negative things, if something negative happens to you, it's so you can persevere, so you can come out on top at the end of it, okay? Overall, my experience at Unleash the Power Within was absolutely incredible. You have to go into this experience with an open mind, because if you don't go with an open mind, it's going to be difficult to kind of get into it, because it's a very cult-like atmosphere. It's like a positive cult. And be prepared, if you are planning to go to one of these things, be prepared to step way out of your comfort zone, as he makes you do all kinds of things with people that are sitting next to you. For example, like he makes you like massage each other, sell things to each other, look into each other's eyes for 2 minutes, high-fiving everyone, hugging everyone around you constantly. There's so much interaction. Like, it's crazy. Like, you can't really, like, you dance like a maniac, you make impressions, you do impersonations. The list goes on and on. Like, you have to be very comfortable. Like, not that you have to be very comfortable. You have to be very comfortable with being uncomfortable to attend one of these and actually get the most out of it. But it's so powerful. I strongly recommend it. And I'm going to be making a video review just like these 3-part series here for the Date with Destiny that I'm going to in December. So definitely subscribe and stay tuned for that. Drop a like on this video. And let me know, like, what are your guys' biggest takeaways throughout the whole thing, like part 1, 2, and 3. Like, what is the biggest thing that you took away where you're just like, fuck, like, that is huge. Like, that's going to change my entire life. I would love to interact with anybody in the comment section down below. So just let me know, and I'll definitely get in there and just chime in, and like we'll talk.